Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Hub United. Again, we're back again. I am here, your host Eshkol, and I have with me Eric. Eric, how are you doing today?
I'm good. I'm all right.
That's good. That's good. So before we move further, today's video is sponsored by Tano Collection for all your female wear, for classy wear, for simple wear. Please visit Tano Collection. Link will be in the description below, and I believe, understand, they ship out worldwide. Also, excellent customer service. Please visit Tano Collection. Link will be in the description below. Now, let's move on to the chaos at Manchester United. Eric, talk to me. Talk to me. What's going on? I know you weren't able to watch the game yesterday, right?
Yeah, that's correct. I wasn't able to watch the game because I was driving. I had a 14 hours drive yesterday from Ontario downtown down to New Brunswick. But
Wow.
I was able to get a glimpse of the game even while it was on. But when I got to my destination this morning, I took our time to go over it and watch the game and see um how everything unfolded yesterday.
Okay. Okay. It was a very good game though. I'll say it was a very good game. Entertaining to watch 100%. I would say some dodgy calls during the game, but at the end, right? Arsenal won. Do they deserve to win? The answer I would say is yes. They played very well. They took their chances. I think United probably what I would take from the game though is that I saw it kind of well, I say I wasn't down. I wasn't like 3-1. The game actually, the scoreline doesn't reflect what actually happened in the game. It was a very, very good game. But again, kudos to Arsenal for winning that one. I think we should have, but on to the next one. Now, I'll probably just give an overview of what I think, though, and you can tell me what you found out probably through your analysis. Today, I know lots of analysis on Twitter, lots of analysis on Sky, but from my end, I think starting the game, we started a bit what I call it a bit to we gave Arsenal lots of respect, but I think that's the game plan from the manager. Seeing we're playing Bruno, Casemiro, and Eriksen in the midfield, right? So I think we were a bit conservative on the start of the game. But as the game went on, we kind of what I call, I think, gained a bit of momentum. We basically had a bit of control to a point. We're more focused on the counter attack, which led to our first goal, and which to me was excellent. But I think that we lost our head and considered 36 seconds later. I think, though, in overall, it was a very, very good game. What's your thought? What have you found out so far through the analysis you've seen on online and Sky and the rest?
Okay. First of all, seeing the game over again this morning, going over the game and just making a few notes about the things I noticed. Right. It wasn't, like I said, it wasn't that bad. First of all, let's go start. Let me start with one of the key activity or the key incident that happened yesterday, which was the call on Saka. Yeah. Honestly, if you look at that in itself was a dangerous tackle, right? Because
Hmm.
he went over the ball and he clipped his man right at the mid
Ankle?
leg. Yeah,
Mhm.
I would more like the mid leg, lower leg, right? Which is very
Dangerous.
dangerous, right? So we but it wasn't given a red card, and I understand why. There was an initial foul on Saka. Dalot pulled the guy down and all of that. There was a foul on Saka, right? So I can understood why the the referee didn't really give it a straight red, or
Okay.
rather went for a yellow card. I know if he had given it a red, if he had given it a red, then there won't be like there won't be much of a complaint from Arsenal or the Arsenal fans, right? Because yeah, we've seen even worse calls more than that, worse than that, that haven't been given, and we've seen lighter calls like in the case of Casemiro last season where it was given. So if they had given in a red, would I have said a different thing? No. But giving it a yellow, I understand why, right? From my angle, from what I saw, I understand why. I actually looked at other pictures, right? I understood why. I can let me just say I can understand why it wasn't given. Um, Even Bruno Fernandez had his own as well, right? But yeah, everybody. It was one of the games where I believe and I know that more like our performance wasn't there at what we want, but compared to the last the three games we've had, it was better, very very better than what we had in the last three games. Oh, very like if there's anything that's better, very, I would say way 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 better than
Previous
Wolves
games,
for
right?
sure.
Okay.
Way way better than the Tottenham game, and a little bit slightly better than the Nottingham Forest game. I say that because for the Nottingham Forest game, we actually came from 2 goals down in 5 minutes to winning the game eventually, right? So, but it was the performance wise, it was better than the Wolves game. That's the one positive I take from it. The one positive I take from it. Um,
Le-
Go ahead, go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I just want to ask you. So, outside it being a positive game, right? Looking at the and how we played, what did you think? Though, what was your thoughts on how we set up? What was your thoughts on how Ten Hag started the game?
Okay, up until, like I said, I believe we Arsenal Arsenal started a little bit like they were good. We kind of gave them the respect, and I don't know why they played the way they play in terms of not trying to put the press on us at in our defense
Um,
line.
do you
They didn't
think? Do you
really
think?
go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. No, sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was saying I don't know why they did it. Even with
Mhm.
Onana, with the as good as Onana on the ball, right? I still felt like they should have they in that regards they kind of showed a respect to us. Okay, we know you have a ball playing goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper.
If we like, you know how they say, if you fool around, you're gonna find out. If you. So we
Hmm.
don't want to take that chances. Let's just give you guys the ball, do whatever you want to do at your defense or your back line.
Hmm.
You still have to go through us in the midfield, right?
Hmm.
So that I don't understand. I didn't understand why they did that, but they did it because I felt like if they had come and pressed us a little bit, maybe they would have even won the game from the beginning of the match. But that's not my analysis. That's not what I'm trying to do. What I'm trying to say is, in terms of how the game was set up, yeah, we set up the way we wanted to set up in terms of
Hmm.
having Casemiro and Bruno and
Bruno. Ericsson.
Ericsson in the middle, right? But
Yeah.
you and I know that midfield is in terms of creativity, I would say 7, but in terms of the defensive shape and all of that, it's a 3. You can have Casemiro and Bruno, and they just Casemiro is already, let's whether we like it or not, he's getting old. It's not a bad player. Nobody will say he is, but like they said, your age is gonna catch up with you.
Yeah.
So but one thing I noticed and one thing I drew, I was furious about was the fact that when it was 1-1, I think it was at 89th minute we scored the goal, Ganasho's goal, which in my opinion wasn't an offside. I don't know what
Okay.
line they were drawing, whether they were trying to I don't know what line they were drawing,
Yeah.
because it's more like we have engineers trying to do some 2D drawing or 3D drawing on the pitch. I don't understand what was happening. But that being said, it was uh but after that time, it felt like, okay, you know what, let's just go grab it. Just we could we we had the momentum was with us. Okay, we could win this game. So I like I was telling the folk yesterday, like I said, we were in the game up until Arsenal scored the second goal. We're in the game, and I one thing, like I said, this is the thing I noted from the is it from the 89 minutes or from the I can't remember from the 88 I think 80th minute. Why when Arsenal was giving us when they were trying to press, it was back and forth, like they were coming at us. It was constant threat and constant pressure and all of that. Why didn't Eric Ten Hag push somebody to the midfield? Why didn't he make the
I think
midfield
I
make
think
the
he had what I call the fullbacks inverted into the midfield to support,
no,
which
I'm
I
saying,
saw.
yeah, I'm saying we have we set up. We had Casemiro. We had three. The way we set up was three midfield. Then when we go attack, the fullbacks they invert. Right. I'm saying that from the 80th minute when he was noticing when we were being bombarded with pressure and upon pressure, I was expecting it to throwing another body in the middle, throwing another body in the midfield, not really the defense line, throwing somebody in the midfield.
But then who will he take out though?
You sacrifice one of the front line.
But if you're taking out one front line, it means you're probably putting bodies in midfield, which is fine. But then you're probably making the Arsenal defense push a bit further towards our midfield, though, which then makes
But
it difficult
but
for us to what called attack.
but the question is, I know we say I'm not settling for a draw, but when they were pressing us, you
Mhm.
could see that like you could see that a goal was coming. It's either we're
Yes.
gonna get a goal on a counter or they were just gonna get a goal because you don't pressure. And with what with Maguire at the back, what do you expect? What do you expect with Maguire at the back? You know for sure that the the one of I'm not one of the tactics of Arteta will be, you know what, go give me a run at Harry Maguire.
Yeah.
Put pressure on
Professional.
Harry Maguire. Is low on confidence in terms of is the fifth choice centre back.
Yep.
The fans don't like him. Like put some pressure on Harry Maguire. And when Harry Maguire is put on severe pressure,
Mhm.
he breaks. There's always a
Yep.
leak. He's unstable, right? So
Mhm.
when you see pressure like that, what did you should have just put in somebody in the middle to kind of as an extra body in the middle to kind of put that shield. But again, that's on the one hand. On the flip side of that scenario is I was happy. I never we might be asked why. I was happy because they said Harry Maguire that we all crying out that said is not good enough, right? Fine. Got paired with a 35-year-old
Johnny Evans.
retiree, right? In Johnny Evans.
Yeah.
Now,
Before we go into Johnny Evans and Maguire, let's what it called. What's your what's your take on what's your take on how we played from the back? I think mainly let me focus on the key individuals. Dallo played
oh,
left.
I was scared at one when I saw the team sheet. I'm like, holy,
Mhm,
God help us today. Like
mhm.
Dalo with
Saka.
on Saka. Oh, jeez. Like I was expecting, when I was expecting him to take him to the slaughters. I was
Yep.
expecting Saka to take him. Like then I saw Martinelli and what's his name? Aaron Wan-Bissaka. I'm like, okay, that's to me in my head, that's a walk in the park. Aaron Wan-Bissaka has got that covered.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't the set. Honestly, the setup wasn't that bad. Like the team sheet, how we started wasn't that bad. One thing that it wasn't that bad. Dalo did exceptional. Well, did good, right?
Mhm.
Putting like a blanket over Saka.
Yep.
Then Aaron Wan-Bissaka had his own. Then what's his name? Um, um, what's Lindelof was okay. Martinez was decent. Then
And
yeah,
Onana, what was your take on Onana?
well, Onana was what for the second goal Arsenal scored, right?
Yeah,
I wouldn't put in too much on him. I know if De Gea was in that position, the chances of De Gea saving that ball, I'd put it at 96.
yeah, I agree. And again, this is not saying that he's better
No,
than
no, no. This
Onana.
is not saying that is better. I'm
Mhm.
just saying that sometimes these things happen. Okay, what's the likelihood that if Dagi was in the goal, we wouldn't have considered more than two? You know,
Um,
I'm just saying, but
mhm,
that's why I'm not trying to bring in. Oh, Dagi is better than Onana. Onana. I'm just saying the for the second goal, the
mhm.
chances that Gale would have saved that ball is what 96%.
I
Against
agree with
not
you.
against Nottingham Forest, the first goal we considered, the chances that Dagi would have made some sort of attempt to try to come from his post and close the attacker's angle, reduce his
Mhm.
angle. The chances that Dagi was going to do that, I'll put it at 85 or 90%, right? But
Mm.
it's just one of those things that happened. You can't, you know,
It's like you have to accept that one is good at one part, one
yeah,
is good at one
because
part.
it's
Yeah.
it's 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 like saying it's like saying you have an old car, right? Now that's been said that served its purpose, right? But it's still very good sound. Now you let it go, you get a new car. What's the guarantee that that car is not going to break down anytime? Even
That's
a
true.
brand new car, what's the guarantee that something wouldn't happen that you didn't even foresee coming? So
Yeah,
it's it's
we've
it's
seen manufacturer recalls. Yeah,
yeah,
so
so it's just a process. There's no there, like I said, like I always tell people, even in the work in the place of work and all of that, nothing is absolute. The only
yeah,
two things that are absolute is the fact that we are going to die. That's one. And another thing is night and day, as long as this world is still remain, night and day would come. Those are the absolute stuff. Every other thing is not.
okay. Okay, so again, just a bit of bit on Onana though. I think he did well though in terms of his pass. I heard it's 41 over out of 50 passes made, right? Accurately. Um, but in terms of, I think he had some long passes whereby they were a bit wayward, and I think I won't blame I won't blame him. I believe our front line though we're not the best in terms of
Oh,
collecting.
oh yeah. See, I had this argument with one Twitter user, and I was like, when they were see, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Onana wasn't needed, right?
Mhm,
But when you're calling for a ball playing goalkeeper, one of
mhm.
my concern was, do we have anybody that's gonna take this ball?
Yeah. Yeah.
And
So, so
when they take the ball, do they have
mhm,
the knowledge, or do they have the IQ or the technical ability to know
to
what to do,
protect.
what to not just protect? Because if you get a 40-yard pass from your goalkeeper and you are in
Mhm.
space, you just have one man to beat, and it's a 3v2 scenario. Do you have the technical know-how to know when to make a pass, or when to shoot, or when to go for a decoy run? Or there are some scenarios where your thinking, your fast thinking already gives you an edge over the defender, because you already know,
Yeah.
okay, this ball is coming. You're already anticipating the defender's move. Now you're going to go against whatever he's thinking. So you already, before the ball touches your foot, you already beat
Very
the
no.
defender.
Yeah.
You've already, so all you just need to do is execute that thought in your head. Not when the ball is already on your foot. That's when you're not thinking, okay, what do I do? What do I do? No, no, no. We don't have clever players we don't really have clever players in our final third.
No. Okay. I'll die. I think Bruno is clever though. Bruno's a bit clever. Yesterday though, one player to call out, I'll say, is Ericsson. Ericsson actually, I was actually shocked. I don't know where he got his energy from. He had so much energy.
No, I
He
was
did.
thinking you were gonna call him out, like in terms of
No, no, no. He
okay.
did so much running. He actually played well yesterday. Outside the what they call the equalizer, though I think he should have probably closed um Odegaard. Odegaard was his man. Because I think Martinez was telling him, watch, 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 watch. I think he lost track. Odegaard was free, but still though, he played well in the game yesterday. Now, before we leave the game, before we leave this game, there's a lot to talk about. What's your take on Rashford
Oh, my
quickly?
My
And
take
I
on
know,
Rashford is
yeah.
always the same take on Rashford every other game.
What's that?
Not because I have an agenda.
Hmm.
It's simply because he does the same thing week in, week out.
Yeah.
Rashford is a fine player. Rashford is a good player, no doubt. Right? I love Rashford
Hmm.
just the same way I love Cristiano Ronaldo, just the same way I love every player at Manchester United. Right? But what's up with this hero ball? What's up with this glory hunting? Like
Again,
it's too much.
I know.
When I say it's too much, like it's too much. There was a chance yesterday that I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I know Rashford. Again, Rashford goes on glory hunting. I'm not sure why he does that, but I'll say though, I always say it's on the manager to basically tell him you need to
No,
support your striker.
from what I'm beginning to see, I feel like he's got the backing of the manager to keep playing
Exactly.
those what should we call
Exactly.
it? Those selfish play some because it's not all honestly if on a scale of 1 to 10 on how selfish Rashford is, I would put it at I'll
A
put it at
five.
6, right?
Yeah.
I'll put it at 6. Sometimes he wants. Sometimes I feel like it's the fact that we should be winning this game. Like what's this? Like you know how you're doing something and you have team which you trying to break a particular maybe do a particular tax and everybody's
Hmm.
pulling in, giving in their pulling in their weight, but you
Yeah.
are like there's something in your head that you think if you do, it's gonna
You can
make
do it.
yeah,
You can do it better.
there's gonna be a breakthrough, right?
Yeah.
So that's what I think sometimes about Rashford. So that's why I really don't go hard on him. Like I'm thinking, okay,
He needs to trust his teammates though.
that's the thing. He needs to trust his teammate to do that thing that he thinks he can do better. He needs to trust his teammate to know that these guys too, we're all fighting for the same cause. Because
Yeah.
if he continues like this, young Ganacho is gonna pick up that thing very fast. And
The
because
attitude, right?
yeah, because like we shouldn't kid ourselves. Everybody in Manchester United is a brand. So everybody wants to
Yeah.
promote their brand. So
Yeah.
for me, like you said, my take is he did well. Like he had a ball yesterday where he put in a bit, yeah, the byline a bit. It went past yeah,
Two players,
yeah, two players. I think
and
It was White and then one other guy. Then
was trying
it
to
wasn't
assist Highland.
Hoyland there, but I think if Anthony had called Holland to let go of that ball, there was a chance that we could score, right? But again, he did all right. He did all right. He
And
took his chances for the goal, and yeah, he did all right.
yeah, what's your take on and finally on the game though? And probably go after because it's so funny. United, we have lots outside the game than actually in the game. So we'll go, let's last thing first before we move on. Except you have anything else on the game. How did you feel? I don't know if you saw it though. How did you feel about Hoyland's
Oh
deadly?
man! We finally have a striker. We finally have a beast. We
Yeah.
finally have quote and unquote. I'm not saying it's DJ Drogba, but I'm saying that I'm not a Chelsea fan. But when I see Chelsea, when I used to watch Drogba play, I used to be
Hmm.
like, man, if we had this guy, right? We finally have what I call, in my opinion, a Drogba-like player. Like it gives me that whenever when I watched him yesterday, I had
Give it that vibes
that feeling that when I every
because
time even when Drogba was playing against Manchester United, trust me, I still get that like yo, that scare like Drogba can just do one thing. I remember one time, man. I remember one time they gave him a ball. He just leaned on the defender. The ball
yeah.
just dropped on his chest. Oh my
Is that Cinderas?
it just dropped on his chest like so it gave me that when I saw Oyland the first move what's his name, Gabriel was like, okay, I need to stay close to this guy, if not this guy is just going to take me to the cleaners, you could see that yo, this guy is the number 9 we're looking for. This guy
No,
is that.
as in like even its first ball first to him, I'm like, this guy's a number 9. And friend, he
I
did
was, I
twice.
was, I was, when a player comes to Manchester United, we're all worried. I was worried, like, yo, it's Manchester United. But he just, like, he played it like he was playing.
And
Like
there's
he's
one thing. It's one thing again I see on the guy, which I would say though,
mhm.
he is the type that will probably put everything on the line for the club.
Oh,
I
this
think
boy loves the club.
so. I think he'll put everything on the line for the club. I was really happy though with his debut. He gave two chances I probably thought we should have utilized, right? And even the goal Garnacho scored, he was also involved in it, right? I'm not sure
I
if you saw
just
that.
it's just sad that we have a whole 2 weeks
Mhm.
before we'd see him in action again, right?
Yeah, no, these two
In a
weeks is needed.
Manchester United shirt, right?
Sh- yeah,
But the 2 weeks feels like it's very long because of of the the shenanigans outside the football
yeah,
pitch.
yeah. And with that, that's what I was going to what I call talk to you about now. What's happening at United? Okay, now after the game yesterday, but I think Ten was a bit disappointed though. He called out the offside wasn't an offside. But then the more so, he called out David Jadon Sancho. And in that, it was asked why wasn't Jaden in the why wasn't Sancho in the team? And he mentioned Sancho wasn't what's the word again? Um, the
In his
levels.
in his word,
It
in his word,
yeah,
on the performance on the training, we didn't select him.
exactly. So Sancho wasn't what they called wasn't performing on a training level. And I think and that's where you see managers make their what they call it, pick their level right before a game. Some players don't do well in training, but they know they'll perform regardless, right? So Sancho is not one of those. Now, I'll give you two questions
Oh,
here.
before you go, Sancho is not one of those, and Tenag is not one of those coaches that would pick a player that he doesn't think does well in training. People can
Okay.
still better pick it. Okay, continue.
Okay. So my question, I have two questions for you. Right. Do you think Ten Ag could have answered that question differently?
Okay, what's the next question? So I could just answer
And
both of
and
them.
and the next question would be, do you think Sancho could have just waited to speak to Ten Ag
Okay, and the first
than
question,
yeah.
and the first question, this is what one of the reasons why I would say I don't see anything wrong in what Ten Hag did, right? Because Manchester United fans, right? I think sometimes we don't like the truth. When
I
somebody
agree.
says the truth, when somebody says the truth, we are quick to like jump on them, like, oh, why would you say it? You should keep it behind. I remember Jose Mourinho calling when he was asked about Martial, about one game about Martial, where he
Uh-huh.
said Martial was it's Jose Mourinho, yeah, where he said Martial was it's Jose Mourinho, not yeah, he said yeah, Jose Mourinho, when Martial he said Martial was ill and couldn't start the game.
Is
I
it
believe
Moreno or was it Ragnick? It was Ragnick.
it was Ragnick, but I know Mourinho had his own too. It
Okay.
was I think, yeah, you might be right. It was Ragnick, like Martial
Yeah.
was ill. Then Martial's girlfriend or his wife at that or his partner at that time posted a picture of Martial and saying where that it was a lie, basically calling the manager a lie. And guess what? Manchester United fans were happy, right? And Martial actually liked the post.
Mhm.
So and people were calling out Martial for being lazy because they already have a notion about Martial. This is a problem I
Yeah.
have with the fan base. They already
Mhm.
have their own notion with Martial. He's lazy, he's this, he doesn't want to walk, he doesn't want to do this, he doesn't want to put in the shift and all of that.
Mhm.
Now, because they love Jadon Sancho, manager was asked a very simple question. Why was he not in the lineup? Or why was he not even on the bench? And he said, based on his performance in the training in the past week, it didn't say previous week. Is it based on the performance in training in the past week, right? I didn't pick him. Now listen, based where I'm gonna ask you now, where is the wrong in this? Based on his performance in training in the last week, based on his performance in training in the last week, I did not pick him. Now, your question was, should he have said something different?
Yeah.
If he had said something different, like, oh, he has a knock, he has uh he has is ill, a
Mm-hmm.
flu, or
Mm-hmm.
something, or personal reason, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Two sides to that coin. What stops Jadon Sancho for putting out a message and say that's a lie? I don't have a knock. There's something bigger. What stops him?
Mm-hmm.
One. Two, what stops the fan base from saying, oh, an excuse again? We don't know what's wrong with Jadon Sancho. He took 3 months out the other time. Now, so the man simply gave a very simple and honest answer that we all are reading too much meaning into it. When I say we all, I mean the
The
fan
fans.
base, the media, and everybody's reading too much to it. Yo, this guy, I didn't pick him based on his training from the last week. He didn't say the previous game. He didn't say the previous weeks. He said last week, this is the same Sancho that he used for preseason and the first 9 row. People are not reading too many meaning into it. You and I don't know what's happening behind closed door.
Mm-hmm.
So why do we have to go look and try to assume what's happening in closed doors and try to judge? Why do we use that assumption to try to judge what's in front of us? Why?
So I honestly, for me, I think right again, if
No, but
I say,
to answer your second question is,
yeah.
do I think Sancho? Yes, of course. Sancho should have just come out, not come out.
Mm-hmm.
Sancho should, okay, I didn't train properly. Okay, I didn't meet up your expectation. Okay, in my heart of heart, I know that if you saying that's if I believe that's a lie, I don't have to put it out there, right? I don't have to put it out there. I come to meet you at the in training, which is today being Monday. I'll be the first in training and say, "Yo, Gaffer,
Oh, offer.
please, do I Mo? Let me see you. Let's reason out. Let me Mo see Alpha. What's playing? Did it
That's what I
happen?
said. Maybe yeah.
Yeah, Mo, yeah. What did they play? I saw your message out there yesterday, but boss, yo, if I was not doing something, if I wasn't pulling my weight in terms of last week training, this was the reason why. Or I should have thought you should have let me know. Okay, what like if you're somebody that wants to, for me, I don't think it's been as a professional. This is what you should do, right?
Mm-hmm.
But it maybe on one side, on one hand, maybe the person asking that question already has a sniff of something happening behind closed doors
It's possible, yeah.
that somebody would have. Maybe it's not, like I said, I don't want to judge anything on assumption. I'm taking face value, but people might say, oh, you're too naive, or you don't things don't just happen in face value. But in the world of sport, I'm not one, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm not one to actually, what's the word? To actually run too much, especially when it comes to Manchester United players and the way the board is run. Yo, I don't delve into assumption. I see what's happening in front of me and I work with it. One of the things I know that is right in front of me is Glazonomics. It's right there in front of me. So there's no assumption. I don't assume, oh, Glazers I don't want to bring. It's Glazonomics is right there. That's why you have the likes of Harry Maguire and Johnny Evans playing as our center back yesterday. So those things are clear in front of me. I don't run on any assumption. So on if you ask me, should Jadon Sancho have held back a bit? Yes. It felt like he felt like he already knew what's gonna happen, right? Like the present that's how I see it. It felt like the presenter said, okay, here we go. I'm gonna ask the question now. Oh, he already typed his thing ready in his draft. Irrespective of the question, he was gonna shoot it out. Because if you ask me, if the manager had said this guy was ill, people are saying he should have just dealt with it in a different way. What stopped Jadon Sancho for what stops him from putting out the information he put out there? I'm not trying to go on him. I'm just saying, like, people just don't do it. Don't do it. If the manager was telling a lie on you, time will tell. Don't do it.
So
People said Cristiano Ronaldo. They talked about Cristiano Ronaldo came out and said if he would now he knows better. Like he didn't really debunk the fact that he shouldn't have done the interview, but he actually made a comment like, "Yo, now I know better. There's some things I shouldn't have done." Like, so don't just do it. Don't put yourself in a situation where you have some fans backing you and some fans not back going against you. Just The manager put up what he put out there. He's quote and unquote, he's the superior, right? If anybody, you have a 3-year contract left in your thing. If the manager is gonna be, if the manager head has to roll, he doesn't have that time. He would be sacked. They can sell you to another club. He's gonna be sacked. He's like, you report to him, he reports to the boss, right? But you can only do what he did, in my own humble opinion. You can only do what he did because probably he has the backing of an hierarchy. Like I tweeted today, I said player, and I was smiling. I was like, player power is back, baby, because this is
So
what we are saying.
for me though, like if looking at it, right, I think Ten Hag is not wrong. I know it's not wrong for calling out Sancho. Other
Bro, it
coaches
did not call out Sancho. You
no,
know what?
sorry. Let me rephrase. For telling the pure truth without hiding anything. Right? That basically this is what's happening, right? Because coaches like Arteta, coaches like Pep, they call it as is, right? Using things as I think Calvin Phillips as an example when he came back from the World Cup. Now, do I think Ten Hag could have made a different statement, which basically gives you a vague idea of what's going on? For me, if I were Ten Hag, to probably again to make peace reign, or perhaps no, just I probably say we have lots of we're in different competition. It's a team sport, and I reserve the right to rotate the players as I wish. Jadon Sancho is not available in this game and could be available for the next one. Period. That's how I'll probably.
Is that not pushing the count down the road?
It's not again. You're not pushing. You're pushing the counter, but the thing is that we know he wants to sell Jadon Sancho. We know he wants to sell.
We
Yeah.
know he wants to sell Jadon
But
Sancho.
the Glazers were, because of, like you mentioned, the Glazeronomics, we are not able to sell Jadon Sancho. But we know for sure Ten Hag wants to sell Jadon. Now,
okay, now the question is why does he wants to sell Jadon Sancho?
Jadon Sancho again is not pulling his weight like him. I know Jadon Sancho is not.
You say what?
He's not pulling his weight. No, I agree. So we know. I'm just saying, right?
On the understanding of what you just said, on the basis of what you just said, he's saying those exact words, like on his performance and training, we didn't select him. He didn't say on his attitude, neither did he say, he said on his performance. Based on his performance, not the personality, not because Ten Hag's job is not to look in quote and unquote, you get the club to do all of those psychological things, but his job is to make sure that you perform at the highest level. You perform at the highest level. What is if Ten Hag comes and Ten Hag's highest level is 20%, right? You perform at that 20%, which to him is his highest level. If he comes and says my highest level is 100%, let him see that. So if he's not picking you, like he said, on performance wise, we should not eradicate or don't ignore the word performance, because that's the reason why he did not pick him. Performance in training, not performance in the previous game.
No, I know.
And it wasn't the performance in the past training. Performance in this last week's training, meaning last week.
And I'm saying I'm not saying you're wrong though. I'm saying you're right and Ten Hag is right. I'm just saying, right, to kind of let peace reign, it could have played it a bit differently. That's what I'm saying.
But since everybody's assuming that there's something behind closed door, what if there wasn't? What if peace wasn't supposed to reign?
So again, now that takes me to Jadon's piece of the what he said. Jadon said, I think he believes that his performance in training was good, but I think based on his statement, he's alluding to the fact that there are other factors, and that's why he's not being picked for the team.
So if Jadon, now I get what I read out Jadon's statement, right? He's saying that he gives his all for the team in training and even in on match day. I get.
What if it's all is not up to what the manager wants? So what you're saying?
You just.
I know that's where you're going.
So on another thing, if it's not if it's now people are saying, but Jaden is the one making people talk because manager said on performance in training. I highlighted those words on performance in training last week.
Do you know, again, like you mentioned, which you already mentioned initially, right, in the video, which you said the team is a brand. And what Jaden came out to do was to protect his brand, because I know when the manager said that, we had fans basically, going out at Jaden. And Jaden felt, you know what, I need to protect myself. So I think that's why he came out. He shouldn't come out though. He should have just kept quiet and
See,
have that
let me
discussion with the
let me
manager in-house.
let me tell you something about the Manchester United fans that I've come to realize.
Yeah.
I'm not saying this to spite anyone.
Yeah.
I'm not saying what I want to say now as a disrespect to anybody, because there are people in that club that has given their all
Yeah.
for the club.
Yes.
But the way they act, especially the ones on social, the way they act like they actually deserve the Glazers.
No, I won't say no. Let's not go that far.
Okay, I'm not gonna go there.
No,
I'm
I
just
think.
gonna drop that line. I'm not gonna. No, the reason why I'm saying that is we have players that are lapping up. We have fans that are lapping up players as the preferred players than the club.
Mhm.
If my player that I like is not playing, then I see every other person that is playing in that person's role as a clown, or they're not doing their best.
Yeah, well, I think we have a lot of
I'm
clear
not talking about
FCs.
I'm not even talking about Sancho. We have the Anthony club, we have the
Yeah.
Rashford club, we have the
Yeah.
Casim. We don't even have
We have to.
Casemiro club.
We have the
We have the
Onana club.
Garnacho club. We have the Onana club. Right
We
now,
still have the. We still have the Dagi club, even
we
if
still have the
they're
Degi club.
no
Now,
longer here.
at what point do we all come together and say, okay, now we have now as a collective we want the Glazers out. Now the
Yes.
Glazers out, right? But we have another section that wants the manager out because to them, yes, oh, you haven't seen. There's a section. Very soon you start seeing them. Now this with the Sancho thing, you're gonna
Mhm.
see them come up. We have a section of the fan base that don't like the manager. One and for some reasons that if they explain to you, you would actually see, you understand why they say that his style of play, his inability
I
to
don't think anyone can explain to me not to say Tenaga, honestly.
okay. No, his style of play is inability to improve players, is ill treatment of quote unquote fan favorite players,
Mhm.
is is he not calling out the Glazers in terms of, oh, I want signing, this one is not good enough, that is not. They want him to say Maguire is not good enough, get him out. They want him to say that. But when he said performance wise in training for Jadon Sancho, it's a problem. But the fan base want him to say Maguire is shite in front of camera. You see what I'm? You see. So when I say player power, it's a player. Fans just like to create. They like to create chaos in this. I, I might have fallen for it, but you know what? I might have been part of it, but you know what? I've come to realize like, yo, if they sack Ten Hag today, right? I wouldn't say anything. If it's good, if the football we are going to be playing is going to be an like what they call it, a ram football or a dead football or
Around.
or 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 an exciting one, I don't have any. If they are going to sack Ten Hag before the Glazers go, then I'm not even bothered calling any coach or any player out.
Yeah.
That's why
No.
I've restrained myself from actually talking about Maguire, Harry Maguire, and like I just want us. If they say Maguire, they have to force Maguire to play. Let's just do it because at the end of the day, Maguire is just doing his job to the best of his ability. So
Yes.
back to this old Sancho debacle, I feel like in my humble opinion, Sancho shouldn't have. He should have. Yeah, I know he has the brand to protect, but the truth is, he's a player that most of the fan base love. They've given him, if they say give a player time, they've given him time. They actually don't put a target on his back. Even when they did that with Anthony and the rest, they've given him time. So the fan base love him. There was no way in terms of if we're going to look at it from the angle of, oh, maybe his brand is going to be affected. There was no way his brand is going to be affected. Those guys talk. That's the thing. Even the club in itself, react to fans. They want to react. The other day, Arnold said, "Oh, was planning on bringing Mason Greenwood back because of fans' reaction." Boom. Woodward. Oh, fans were like, "Oh, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is at the wheel. Is at the wheel." Boom.
Sorry, do you see again? Not again. I
Excuse me.
don't. I don't.
Let me just put my. Yeah. Go ahead.
I don't want to dive deep in there though. But you see, right, how Getafe handled again Mason in their club.
See, the truth is, I whatever happened, like I said, I think one of our stream, I told you, I'm neutral. Whatever the club wants to do, I don't trust the club to make the right decision, and I was right, right? I don't trust them to make the right decision. They are always going to go with what the fan says in terms of decisions like that.
And
When it
again,
comes to
to
this,
me, so go
when
ahead.
it comes to decisions like that, it's what the majority of the fans. If majority of the fans have said, "Yo, keep him," the club would have kept him. So I don't trust them to make decisions like that. On the one hand, let me just run. I'm not going to dive too much in it. Mason's Greenwood's issue, the club should have gotten an external body to do the investigation. Simple. Hands off.
Simple.
Whatever the private investigator or whatever the external body does, whatever verdict they pass, we go with it. If the fans like it or not, we handed it over to an external body. And by the time they were doing it, the external body will be a reputable one where everybody can go look them up and be like, okay, these guys are actually reputable.
You know, that's the best thing United could have done for themselves.
That's why I tell you,
then it's like you're giving me, go do your job, you give me paper and say, okay, this is my final, what they call it, output.
Yeah.
And then
by the time the external body brings in a report and said, okay, from all our investigations and our findings, we see that this guy is guilty. Boom. We see that this guy is not guilty. Boom. And you bring the statement out there, you put it out there on your website. Everybody go reads it. Even the ones that don't want him back, if you're going against their decision, they see it out there. The ones that want him back, if you're going against their decision, they see the reason out there. They're trying to manipulate the fans. Okay,
PR,
nah, man. No. That's why I told you when one of us, I think, yeah, I told you that
our last stream.
Yeah, I am neutral. Not neutral. I am not anyway. Whether I want him back or not, I am not. Whatever the club decides, I will take, because that way I save whatever mental health I still have left. Because being a supporter of Manchester United lately, in the past 18, I think once we've been sold, once the club has been sold, my suggestion is to every Manchester United fan to at least have 2 or 3 sessions with
a shrink,
with I don't like to call them shrink, with a psychiatrist or psychologist, right? To actually unwind, like what they call it in the military, or what they call it, go for a debrief, right? Take that because we are quote unquote in a toxic relationship with the club.
Yeah, I agree. We're in a toxic relationship, as in where you cannot break the relationship.
You cannot you can't walk away, because
you just have to be there and hope things get better.
So that's why I say on that front, I don't like to talk about it, because it gets me angry, because I'm like, what is this club? Like it piles up upon the things I know that they've been doing that are not even right. Like, I don't trust them. If Manchester United, if Arnold comes in and say on behalf of the club, Manchester United under the Glazers, that the time right now is 8 p.m. Bro, I ain't taking. I'm not taking it.
I think it's morning, or it's morning. No, I agree. So let's I think we're I think let's round up here. Again, on my thoughts on Jadon and Sancho. I think Sancho just needs. I think what he needs more so is increase his work ethics. And Sancho is a very, very skillful footballer. Sancho is talented. I think Sancho can play in tight pockets and tight corners. Right? He did pretty well in Dortmund. Although I know I was looking at reports and headlines, right? They might be true, they might be false. With whereby he had issues, the same issues with what they call coming to training late at Dortmund, coming to training late at England, coming to training late as well when it was at Man City. So I think Sancho again needs to probably improve his his work ethics. He's a very good footballer. I think he's more talented than Rashford, to be fair. But I think Rashford is more direct, has more pace and power. So
And
Sasha,
the truth is that one thing I say about it is he's a young guy. He's 24 years old, if I'm not mistaken, right?
yeah, yeah.
All of those things that they said indeed in Man City and the Borussia
Those are
Dortmund.
probably him being a teenager.
Yeah, he was younger, right? So I don't really hold any of that against him. Just saying right now, you're 24, you're becoming like you're getting there in terms of you're already a mature player, you're already earning 350K, right?
Hmm.
Bro, my advice, my not really advice. I'm not who am I to advise anybody? I'm just saying my take, or if he's gonna listen, get yourself a good advisor. That's all. Because
Yeah, you see.
whoever advised him to put up that statement didn't advise him properly.
I
I know,
saw a
and
video. I saw a video. One guy said, Jaden's reply after the post. It was a madman that told me to send it out.
because I don't I like those
Oh
things.
God.
I know you want to spin something in your favor, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's not everything that's being said out there that you should reply to. You know, so like when Mason Mount was getting hounded by the fan and the fan base, even ex clubs fan base and all of that, the brother came out and said, "These people are human." Yo, we know they're human. You don't need to do that. By doing that, you just made the whole thing worse. Some people were going to feel compassion and be like, "Oh no, I'm going to stay away." But the truth is, who care? Do you think the ex Chelsea fan base do you think they care about if he's human or he left them when they were actually so when you put things out, sometimes it's just best to just sit and just be like, oh, because whether we like it or not, social media is not the real world. It's just a world that people have just made up. It's not the real world. Most of those people out there um showing compassion can actually be vile people. Most of those people out there that are actually showing violence and actually going off at people, when you meet them in the real life, you're like, yo, so this guy is this sweet. So it's not. It's just a make believe world. You don't. It's not everything you put. You don't like that comment from Ten Hag yesterday. It wasn't a spiteful one. If I was again different stroke for different folks. If I was in his shoes, I see that as uh some sort of something I could draw strength from. I'm like, you know what? I have a point to prove to this guy.
Yes.
I have a point to prove to this guy. You know,
Mm.
what's his name? Ganacho was dealt had his own treatment.
Ash. Yes. Yes.
Even it wasn't said,
Rashford.
but Bruno actually whispered it out and said, "Oh, he was some type of way
Hmm.
in training and all of that. He's young. We have to, Rashford had his own where he missed the meeting and he had it. So the thing is, sometimes we just have to, and I think Rashford learned from the previous season where he knew most of his PRO stunts were not too good. He shouldn't have responded to some of those things he did because leaving people in leaving people guessing sometimes is a very good way at
Yeah.
dealing with scenario because if the coach has brought that out now, right? If he had kept quiet, let people talk.
Mhm.
Tomorrow, they see you on the pitch, you're giving the assist or you're scoring the goal, or in the next 5 games, even if you get cameos of 20 minutes, 30 minutes, or you it's your job to prove to this manager that he's making a mistake not starting you, whether we like it or not, even in our place of work. Because it's not like I said, I don't want to delve into what's that's why I say I take things from the face in terms of sports. We talk about especially Manchester United, I take things from the face because face value. I've seen too many player powers ruin players as well as coach. Whether we like it or not, the players that have the power, they think, okay, I have power, I have this. But at the end of the day, you ruin their chances. Take for a good example is Jason Lingard, who for one, I believe he thought he had good friends in the hierarchy and all of that. But when it was time to be sold for 25 million to go further his career, to go not like further his career to a team where he was the superstar
Yes.
in a short
Regular playing time.
yeah regular playing time in a short spell, right? It was like they were like, wow, wow, wow. You came back and they said they weren't selling you. So
So,
So
quick
it's a
one though.
detriment to players. It's also a detriment to the coach. And another thing, before I go, I think I did write this down. I said we're all saying that um Harry Maguire and all of that are not good enough, right? We want them to be sold and kicked out. But when it's a
Yes.
player we like, oh, we should give them more time. We should give them more time. Like, yeah, give them some time, give them more time. If it's like for me, you've always known my stand. If the club says I'm gonna sell Rashford today, fine. If the club comes and say, oh, missing out, we made a mistake, I'm gonna sell it, fine. I don't care. The players are being paid heavily. We are here to share them on. If they are not pulling their weight, and the club in itself knows that these guys are not pulling their weight, and decide to say, okay, we want to cut ties, yo, cut ties. Your scouting department did the job. I'm just a fan supporting the club I love. The only thing I'm concerned about is the proper running of this football club. Because if we have proper running of the football club, I don't think any of this is going to be an issue. And why I tweeted player power is back, baby, is it's not happening. Maguire got stripped of the captaincy. We didn't have to know. It was a simple, oh, you're no more my captain. I don't know the whole extent or the context of the conversation, but it was, oh, Maguire is no more the captain, right? Let the media if the media wants to do that, they want to find out, oh, Maguire is no more the captain, Bruno is not the captain. Or you came out of the office, oh, yo, I'm no more the captain, spin something for me. You shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Manager
So if
says, okay, go ahead.
no, just finish that. Yeah,
Manager
just say
says a
something.
player wasn't picked, not because manager says the player wasn't picked on the account of his poor performance in training the previous week, the week that just ended before the game, and the player is tweeting out an hour later trying to put no, bro, just take a chill.
I agree with you. So we have probably 4 minutes left right before we round up the stream today. I was going to ask you, do you think there's a way back for Jadon Sancho?
Oh yes, there's always a way back for anybody. There's always a way back for every and anybody. The truth
Mhm.
is, you'd have to acknowledge where you. That's where you have to put pride aside. You have to acknowledge where you make a mistake. The
Mhm.
coach has to acknowledge where, if he made a mistake, the coach also has to acknowledge where they both made their mistake.
Mhm.
In life, like I said, nothing is absolute. We are
Yeah.
bound to make mistakes. We are bound to have frictions. It's how we deal with the friction. Like, it's how we deal with it that matters. If you're saying, okay, if Sancho is saying, like where everybody is saying, oh, the club, the coach doesn't like the player. The coach didn't like Aaron Wan-Bissaka, remember? The coach didn't
It's
want him.
true.
I wouldn't say like, the coach didn't
That
want Aaron
you don't want him.
Wan-Bissaka.
That's
From
true.
the
That's a
from the
very
very
key one. Yeah.
from the get-go, Aaron Wan-Bissaka was on the sell list,
He was on
right?
the sidelines. Even he wasn't playing.
But what did Aaron Wan-Bissaka do? Push
Worked
himself.
hard.
Now, aren't they
Honestly,
trying to get,
even honestly in games, if you say Wan-Bissaka or Dalo, you think, okay, this game I'll take it. Wan-Bissaka.
even sometimes when Dalo will start, you're like, why is he starting? Where
That,
is there
yeah.
anything wrong with that?
Oh,
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like I said, there is a way back. There's no absolute thing. Everything has.
and you're correct. The manager might not like you, right? Might not like you, but if you're putting in the numbers, he has no choice.
Do you think now that, for example, do you think if a club wants to now, West Ham wanted to buy Aaron Wan-Bissaka at the time they wanted to buy him for, if I'm not mistaken, 15-25 million. Do you think they
Mhm.
will sell? No, a serious club now with the way he has performed. Do you think Aaron Wan-Bissaka will go for anything lower than 40?
Around 35, 40 million. Yes, I agree. As even I think what Wan-Bissaka needs is if he can get a call up to England just once. That's what I need because he hasn't though. I think that's the tough part. Where if you can get a call up, right,
We
that will
under
also increase his value.
under their current manager, you
Yeah,
shouldn't expect it. You shouldn't
I know,
expect
I
a
know, I
manager
know.
that calls Calvin Philip and um Harry
Harry
Maguire
Maguire. Yes, I
over
agree with
players
you.
that are. Ward Prowse is a good player,
Mhm.
right? What's there's another guy. Tomorrow is a good defender.
Yeah,
right?
Tomori, a good. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah,
Okay. Now, so I don't want to delve into it's not my
England, right?
it's not my I don't want to delve into it. So but I'm just saying, like, when to answer your question, there is a way back. What the club just
Yeah.
need to do, Jadon Sancho just need to accept his responsibility and say, okay, I made a mistake for putting that out, even if it
Mhm.
was true or not true what the manager said. I made a mistake for putting that out, because now you're going against the ethics of the club. Now you're going to get fined. If it's 1 week, if it's 2 weeks, whatever the fine is, you get fined. We move on. Is there, okay, what's the bottom line here? Ten Hag, okay, you want him sold? Okay, you know what? Let's get to use him so we get good money for him, and we're gonna sell him.
Hon-
If not January, we'll sell him in next summer. It's as simple as, see,
Honestly, even
we are the ones, we the fans, we are, because we are attached to the club, we love the club. That's why we're actually showing all of this emotion. But the truth is, it's been blown out of proportion. What
yeah, I agree.
what Sancho did and what Ten Hag did has been blown out. Is Sancho, like you said, he's just protecting his brand, right?
Mm,
But I'm saying he shouldn't have done that. If you ask me, he shouldn't have done that. Should Ten Hag have done what he did? I wouldn't
it's
say,
fine.
yeah, he did it. But is there
Yeah,
anything really bad in what?
it's in his right to actually say
Yeah,
that
is there
as a
anything bad
manager.
in what? Is there anything bad in what he said in terms of? Is he downplaying the player? No, I just felt like he said the performance in training last week wasn't good enough for me to pick him. Simple.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree though. I think Ten Hag is also a man that basically, if you go talk to him, I think he's someone that will basically take a he won't if Jaden goes and okay, I'm sorry this happened, I'll work harder, I'll put in the effort. I think there's always a way back for Jaden
Test.
in the
Let
team.
me just, before we round up. Let me just run this. Let me just ask you this. It wasn't not the same Ten Hag that what we were trying to sell. When I remember when West Ham agreed a fee with when Manchester United agreed a fee with West Ham, and Ten Hag was asked in press conference, he said, "Oh, I like Maguire to stay. He's a good player. He would fight. I believe he can fight for his position." Was it not the same Ten Hag that said it?
Yes, yes.
Okay. And all of us were saying, "Oh, he's a liar. Is this Ten Hag wants to kick him out?" But now people are saying Ten Hag wants to kick him out, but they forget that. That's why I say I don't really dwell on assumption. This man said, "Okay, until they sell you, I'm still going to use you. You're still going to fight for your place." This is exactly the same thing he's telling Jadon Sancho. I'm not picking you because you're not fighting for your place.
I agree. I
in
agree.
my in
I
my
agree.
own understanding. So there wasn't any. If you ask me, put gun
Hmm.
to my head, ask me. I don't see anything wrong in the statement of on his performance in training. We didn't select him. Ten Hag's words. I didn't see anything spiteful, anything demeaning. I didn't see it. But people in the world of sport and professional sport, and they say, "Oh, so maybe something is there." But for me, I didn't see it. I've worked with people in, you know me. I work in the health sector, so I've seen my support, my seniors, and all of that. They tell you, you're not pulling your weight. You need to do. I don't go telling them, "Oh no, I'm doing my best." No,
Because he
even
basically
if I'm
is
not, even if I know I'm doing my best and he's not saying it, right? My job,
is
my job will speak for myself. So when he
over time.
comes the
Yes.
next day, or when he comes 2 weeks later, he sees that, oh okay, I made a wrong call the other day. I shouldn't have. Do you know if do you know if we don't even know if Sancho had kept mute and gone to see the gaffer, and the gaffer said, "Okay, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have said that," right? You know, Senag is not too good with English. I don't know. I'm not going to give him that as an excuse. I'm just saying he didn't say anything wrong. But knowing fully, let's just say Sancho went to him and say, "Oh," then Tenag be like, "Okay, say I didn't mean it that way, but it came
Mhm.
out that way. Don't be offended. Let's work on it." Esco, no case.
I agree. I
It's
agree.
just that the truth is, Manchester United, we love
It's not.
one of the
It's
reasons why we
no,
love the club is just that some days there's always a story.
yeah, like someone
It's
asked
like,
me, I think I was talking to someone and this, I was like, we're talking about Jaden's issue, and then like, is there any day we talk about United that is just football, or there's
no,
there's always a
no,
drama?
there is always one drama or the other. If it's not
I agree.
somebody saying he's been disrespected by the coach,
Mhm.
it's the Glazers that are trying to hold us to ransom, or you know, it's
There's always one story.
it's
There's
a
always
gift
something happening.
that keeps giving in terms of negative spin, just people to talk. I think sometimes I just sit back and be like, it's like, do these guys actually do this thing on purpose? Just to
Honest,
see, just to rattle
honestly,
the fans, or just to see them, because you go on Twitter, is Manchester United did this, one person did this. Like, yeah, like, can we just catch a break? Like today now, we're already seeing pictures of Anthony's ex-girlfriend. So it when
it's
will it
always
end?
because in the club, right? Again, it's always yeah, it's always United though. But I think we're busy, we're on time here. Again, Eric, I know we're busy though. We need to create a schedule, right? I know we aim to create a schedule, kind of, so we can probably have different times where we present our shows. Eric and I, like I mentioned, are co-founders of the Hub United. Hopefully, we can find time where we can probably engage more with the community, engage more with everyone here, and yeah, we'll certainly work on that. And I said it's the last time in our last video, but this time we'll work on it. Eric, any last words before we go?
Oh, my last words before we go is the glazes out. I just hope we wake up one morning to a really bright day in Manchester United, because right now it feels so dark and cloudy.
I agree with you. And again, thank you. Again, also note, visit the link below for Thanos collection, stylish female wear and day ship worldwide. See you guys on the next one. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Please don't forget to like.
Share and subscribe.
Bye, guys.